So when the self-appointed Prime Minister, or future Prime Minister Tony Abbott, arrived in the Northern Territory, the Minister for Aboriginal People, self-appointed, to explain why he was suspending the Racial Discrimination Act, he came to a place called Wadeye in the top end of the Northern Territory. And he came to speak to a group of elders, both male and female, like this, at the sacred tree, the meeting tree. So everyone wanted to know what was going on. So he arrived, about 150 elders there, the other 2,000 Aboriginal people walking about doing their business. And they sat there and they listened to his speech. And he sat under the big tree and he held court. Right, everyone here has to pull their socks up. Has to pull their socks up. And I'm here to help you, to save you. And and he leaned up against the tree, and what's gonna save you is industries like fracking, industries like mining, industries like building roads. Industries is what's gonna save you and give you a job. Pull your socks up. He jumped in his cart, went to the airport, jumped in his charter, flew down to Alice Springs. The old Aboriginal fellow walked up, old elder. He looked at the 150 people and he looked at the tree of knowledge. And he leaned up against the tree and he said, "In this tree is all that in this tree." He said, "In this tree." So Tony Abbott flies, comes down to Alice Springs now, Central Australia. Read the paper, it's worse than what's happening in Ukraine. With 100,000 people dead. And little pickaninnies can't walk the streets of their own hometown. No one's dying there. So he lands. Anyone been to Alice Springs? Yeah? He landed at the airport, he drives into town. Again, another gathering like this, all sea of black faces. Come to listen what's happening. So he's standing in front of them and he said, "Look, we're gonna have to close the gap. Close the gap in education. Close the gap in employment, economic wealth. We're gonna close this gap for your benefit." And they're listening, and he says, "And I'm working to close this gap for you." Anyway, everyone sits there quietly. He jumps in his car, he flies off to Canberra. The old lady gets up. She addresses the crowd. And the public servants listening there, making these policies. She says, "But why do we have to close the gap?" If anyone's been to Alice Springs, that's how you get from the airport to the sea. You have to go through a place called the Gap. The mist is coming up. The didgeridoo sounding over the top of Fremantle as they walk through, and all of a sudden people are looking and walking and they're watching. They get down to the mouth where Fremantle is. I don't know if anyone's been to Fremantle, but there's these sheds that run across the river. The Endeavour's coming in. The media see them. It was going to be all about the Endeavour. They see these 40 Aboriginal people walking and climbing up on top of the sheds. And he said to me, "Matt, that day, there was hundreds of thousands of people watching, the media watching, and I threw a spear that day. And not since or before have I thrown a spear that far. And I aimed it at the Endeavour with the Woomera, an amazing piece of engineering. And anyone who understands about throwing a spear, when you throw it properly, it makes a sound. Sun's rising, hundreds of thousands of people there, the spear's travelling towards the Endeavour. There's dead silence. Bang! Into the side of the boat. The police boat.